Welcome to the Leaderish Podcast, leadership lessons straight up, with your hosts, Dr. Jen and Regina. Hey, Jen. How's it going?
Hi, Regina. It's going great. It's a beautiful Friday in October. How is it going for you?
Oh my gosh, so good. I haven't been outside today. In fact, during my lunch break, I actually did some cleaning. So I'm getting ready after we finish up today to go outside a little bit.
As you should. It's lovely. And I had to because I have Dolly, the crazy puppy, and it's really lovely. And I'm insane, and I planted a whole bunch of flowers last weekend.
What?
Yep. I know it's October. Why
Did you get like a good deal?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
Nope. I just wanted fresh flowers. It was lovely outside. So now I have to water them all the time because I don't know if you realize this, it hasn't rained in a very long time.
Correct.
So I had to go outside and to water about 30 flower pots.
Wow. So you filled up the happy place. Can you even get out to your happy place?
I can. So 8, 9, 10 of them 10 pots are on the balcony in the happy place. And then 7 or 8 more are like down the steps of our front porch.
Wow. Did you get mums or something else?
I got a couple mums, and I got pansies, pansies can actually make it through the winter.
Oh my gosh, they'll so make it through the winter. Yeah, that's a good one.
I felt good about that.
Okay, anyway, well, you made good choices at least. Thanks. At least you didn't like get Gerber daisies that aren't going to make it.
That's very true. And some of them are like in a big pot. There's some things that are still left over from last summer even. So we're just going to keep it going. If I continue to water.
That's a big if there.
Yes, it is.
I've seen your desk plant caring, so I hope you do better.
They look great.
Okay, they do now. But the ones that people put on your desk, they don't look great.
They're not mine, and I refuse to take care of them. So
I knew it was coming.
I take no responsibility.
I knew that was coming.
Okay, so that's what's up. And now let's go into my favorite segment, the drink of the day, which I actually brought it with me today instead of water. What do you have?
No. I need to hear yours first.
Okay. Well, I have my favorite, which I'm showing you right now, Austin East dry rosé cider. So I am going to crack it open, pour it into my fancy glass, which you can probably hear right now because of our very fancy microphones. Oh, hear that fuzz?
Ooh.
And that's what I'm going to have because it is a lovely afternoon. What about you?
Delicious. Okay.
Did you bring it today?
No.
Or are you wimping out?
No, I'm wimping out, but I got to tell you why I'm wimping out, because after we're done, I have to go to school to get the kids to take them to the book fair. I cannot go walk in the school with bourbon breath. But I thought about it.
Fine.
I really did think about it. I'm like, oh, I could have a really nice glass of Angel's Envy rye. I could be feeling good and just chew some gum. And then I'm like, nah, you can smell the bourbon through the gum.
That's really true. So I fully support this.
Thank you.
Is it the Scholastic Book Fair?
Oh my gosh, this has been the talk of my house all week. I cannot believe you just asked that question. No, it is called the Literati Book Fair. They are now only doing the Scholastic once a year. So the Scholastic comes in like the spring and the Literati is in the fall.
What's the difference?
I don't know, but I'm going to find out today. And I vowed that I would buy my children 2 books every book fair, but no junk. No junk. I don't buy them the junk. I don't buy them the toys and the little pointers and the erasers. No. Mm-mm.
Oh, those are some of the best. I mean, the books are the best part, but I've actually even seen memes like swirling around Instagram about how adults like miss the Scholastic Book Fair, which I was like, oh my God, I haven't thought about that in forever. And now I am jealous. So I'm going to need to hear all about this.
All right. Well, maybe in the spring you can come to the Scholastic Book Fair.
I would be happy. Oh my God, I would love it.
So much fun.
I won't drink first, I promise.
Well, I have news. We have a friend with us today.
Yay! I'm so excited.
So, Jess Ruetschlin, welcome to Leaderish Podcast. We are so excited to have you.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here.
Yay! Before we get to know you, what do you have in your cup? What is your drink of the day?
So I also did not bring it today because I'm still at the office. So it's tough to drag my vodka into the office, although on a Friday, there's not very many people here to see it. So today I have a Starbucks latte.
Oh, that's nice, though. That's like better than water. Is that what you have, Regina?
Yeah, I just have water. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, fine.
Yeah. Jess, that just tells me how different your office is than my office because I had a one-on-one with a coworker, and we have this beautiful rooftop. You've been there, beautiful rooftop at our office. There's a beer fridge that's like stocked with leftover beer, and there's wine. And I look at my one-on-one partner and I'm like, I think we need a drink. It's 3:00 in the afternoon. So we sat up on the rooftop, had a glass of wine, and did our one-on-one. It was great.
I've been to that office, and it is the beer wine fridge is always nicely stocked. Unfortunately, there's not as many people here, so it'd just be me drinking alone, which would be a different kind of self-help podcast that we'd have to talk through.
That's very true.
I get that. I get that. So, Jess, would you introduce yourself?
Absolutely. So, as you mentioned, I'm Jessica Ruetschlin. I work with you ladies at the same company, and I've been most of my career in our partner engagement roles, working with some of our external partners, and recently moved to a new role within our supply chain that I am super excited about. I get to work with engineers and scientists and quality people and figure out how we do all the things behind the scenes. So I'm really, really excited about it. And crucially, for most of my career, not just in my current company, but in the past, I have almost exclusively led teams that did not sit in the same location as me. So in my entire career, I've only had 2 employees that actually were in the same building. And
wow.
so,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, pretty extensive. And even now, 2/3 of my team is in the Philippines. So not even just a different building, but a different hemisphere. And so really excited to talk to you ladies today about leading from a distance and making sure that you're still delivering at a leadership level, even when those people can't see you every day.
Oh, I love that. And that gets us into our content for today, which is actually, I was going to call it leading remotely, but leading from a distance sounds so much cooler and better. I love that. So I think the interesting thing about this topic is obviously in the last 3 years, when people have gone remote that have never been remote, this has been an important topic. And then the world shifted again when everyone started going back to the office, but in a different way. So even if before you had an office where everyone went in, now you have remote in a different way because people are doing hybrid work. And so everybody is experiencing this now, where maybe only a portion knew how to lead hybrid teams and lead remote teams and lead from a distance before. So it's become a highly requested topic, honestly, in our jobs and for the podcast as well. So very, very, very thankful that you offered to do this. Wonderful.
I'm excited to talk about it. You're right. We all got a real hard crash course in it in 2020. And I think a lot of leaders really felt like it was hard to show up for their people in the same way, having to make that real quick change adjustment. Now, additionally, we were dealing with a lot of other stressors on top of that. So I think it was hard for a lot of leaders. But
for sure,
as I've worked through my career and worked with teams that are distant for me, I've really developed over time 3 specific actions that I'm very deliberate about all the time that I have found make that interaction better and stronger over time, so that I still feel like I can show up for my people. My people feel supported. They consistently report that they appreciate what I've been able to do to support them. And so I can help to drive that forward for them.
That's awesome. And I love that you have condensed years of leading and probably learning some things the hard way, doing some things the right way, getting feedback into 3 things that our listeners can take from you. So what is the first one?
So The first one is what I would call my foundational rule for leadership, regardless of where your team is. And that is never underestimate the power of saying things out loud. Now, this is doubly important when you are leading teams that are not co-located with you, because even though we have video, really all you have to build your relationship on is that dialogue. And so you cannot expect that your teams are going to pick up on some of the subtle body posture or facial expression cues because you don't know what your camera is doing at that moment. You can't expect that they're going to get the same energy from you that they would if they were in person. And so the power of saying literally everything and anything out loud is really critical. So from a positive perspective, things like making sure you're being clear about instructions, making sure you're being clear about expectations, but on the and making sure you're clear about emotions. So things like, hey, I'm really excited to see you today. They aren't in the same building as you. They can't feel that energy from you. Saying it out loud helps center them with the way that you're actually experiencing that relationship with them. The flip side of that too is you have to be really careful about how you think about things that might be construed negatively, because again, all you have is the dialogue that you're building. And so if you're going to give feedback that is constructive, if you're going to course correct somebody who maybe has made a mistake or needs to be pulled back from something, it's really important to do it in a way that they are going to perceive as helping them, because all they have is that language that they have with you. They don't have anything else. So saying it out loud is kind of foundational rule for everything.
I love that. And I actually like the way you said it out loud, because we always talk about the importance of communication, or we talk about the importance of connection. These are things I've heard for how to connect with your team, no matter where they are. And Regina and I just led some sessions recently, and we heard that context is really important for leaders to share with their teams. But how concisely and simply you say that, with say it out loud. It's not just communication. It's not, I need to share this with you. It's what you say, how you say it. And all you have is dialogue, which is so interesting. Is there anything that you make sure you don't say?
Yes. So if I am maybe struggling to overcome some negative aspect of the last meeting that is not relative to the person that I'm speaking to next, if I am aware that I need to give feedback, but I'm not quite ready to make sure that it's going to land in a place where it's going to help support that team member to grow, anything that's not fully formed, anything that is not really critical to that employee, keep those things to myself. And obviously, you know, the big buzzword in a lot of places is bring your whole self to work. There's value in that, but there's pieces of all of us that we are leaving at home. And so, you know, if
That's very true.
If I'm upset because my cat knocked everything off my counter this morning, my team doesn't need to be aware of that, unless I think it's going to be a funny story that's going to bring us closer together.
I was going to say, unless it's hilarious, then definitely share it.
That sounds hilarious. Just, I think what I heard there is that you are extremely intentional about what you say and when you say it.
That's right. And I have a silly example, but I think it's a good example of the way that this can be powerful and the way you communicate, not just with the people that you're leading, but with everyone. So as I mentioned, I was part of our partner services team for a long time. I was part of an account that had a lot of engagement across multiple lines of business in our company. And so about every 2 weeks, everybody who touched that account got together on a big strategic meeting. It was directors and above, included several VPs, SVPs, and the COO. And I had been part of the meeting for a long time in one position as part of the account representation, but moved to a different position. And really only about 2 weeks into that new position, we're all logging onto this meeting. And my boss sends me an instant message and says, "Hey, Jessica, I'm stuck on a meeting. Can you run the strategic call today?" And so I, of course, said sure, because you don't want to tell your boss no in that moment. But I'm staring at a Zoom screen with our COO, like I said, a bunch of really big, scary acronyms on that call. And so I said, "Hey guys, my boss let me know he's not going to be able to make it. He's asked me to lead the call today. This is the most intimidating meeting of my life. Let's see how it goes." And rolled into the meeting. So at the end of it, the COO was actually the first one to say, "Hey, Jess, you did a good job." Now, Had I stumbled my way through it, would I have been okay? Probably. Like it wouldn't have been the end of the world. It would have been fine. But by putting a name on it at the very beginning, it means that the rest of the team was engaged in the fact that I was doing something that was a little scary from a career perspective. Yeah. And they were more likely to support me than to judge me. And so by saying it out loud, I got the buy-in up front.
Wow, that is a beautiful story.
I feel like I've just really learned that in the last couple years, and I'm still learning it. Maybe because of the forced vulnerability through quarantine, and we all had to get really real with each other. But I have really recently learned the power of, instead, like in my past, if I was nervous, if I was afraid, if I didn't know something, if there were tough dynamics, I would definitely like take the suck it up buttercup mentality, which I actually have a sign behind my wall that says that, because that's really how I grew up. That is how I grew up in my career. And that is the mentality that I took. But I have really seen the power. And that's a really great example of even starting a meeting with a project group or something, or just a one-on-one with, hey, just FYI, it's been a really, really rough week, rough day for everyone, or for me, or whatever, but we have to do this, so let's get through it, or something like that. Vulnerability really just grounds people that, hey, we're actually humans on a call or in a meeting, and we're coming together to work on something, but that we're all humans. And yeah, I'm glad you shared that, because like I said, I'm still learning that.
It's a tough one. And it's hard to remember in the moment when you're feeling anxious, when you're feeling nervous, when you're feeling upset. People are people. Yeah. And ultimately, all people are people. They all have very similar experiences. We all work in the same company, in the same industry. We're all pretty aligned. And so giving them the benefit of the doubt that they're going to give you the benefit of the doubt pays off more often than it doesn't.
That's great. And something really good to teach and model for your team as well.
So what's the second one?
Yeah. So second one is to be very clear about your expectations from the very beginning. So again, say it out loud is the foundational rule. So this follows on that. I start all of my leadership relationships with a document that is actually split into thirds. It's about a full page. First third is my expectations for my new employee. And some of them are really basic things like, I expect you to show up and be engaged. I expect you to do your assignments, those kinds of things. Some of them are things that are pet peeves of mine. So one of them that's on there is, if you're not going to attend the meeting, you need to let the people know you're not going to attend the meeting, because it's always irritating to me when people don't do that. So it's just kind of a list of things like, hey, here are ways to make it easier to deal with me as we go into this.
And not even a pet peeve, but like,
that's just basic courtesy,
human practice. Yeah.
Oh, I'm with you on that one though, Jess.
Yeah. So it's really, I try and set it up very simply for what I'm expecting from the employee. It's that kind of baseline. What's really more important is the next two sections. Section 2 is what that employee can expect from me. And so that is things like what my management style is, my commitment to their development, my responsibility to make sure that they have kind of the roadblocks cleared across the teams that they're working with, those things that they can drive for me. And then the third section is what I expect of us collectively as a team, because there's what I'm going to contribute, there's what they're going to contribute, but then there's what we're going to build together and how I expect that to go. And that does a couple of things for me. First of all, it helps that new employee kind of understand where the floor is. So this is a new relationship. You don't know me. We're going to agree at the outset that these are kind of the ground rules so that you have a level of comfort and you're not walking into something unreasonable or unknown. But it also sets it up so that from the very beginning, we are discussing expectations. And those expectations may change over time. They're going to grow. We're going to build on them. But it is going to be part of our dialogue on a regular and ongoing basis, not just me to them, but them to me. And I really try and push to say, hey, this is the list of things you can expect from me. What am I missing? What else do you need? Where else can I help you? so that they know from the very beginning that that door is open, that this is not just me handing directives to them, which is actually one of the expectations for me. I'll never tell you to just do it because I said so. We're always going to talk about it and understand the why behind the ask, but it means that they know that they can come to me and say, hey, this is a thing that I need. Can you help me with this?
I love that. And I think what I really like about the document is it's not just the what you expect. Some of it is the how as well, which we don't talk about. And people just learn the hard way when they make a misstep or when someone else does. So that's fantastic. And then what kinds of things go in that third section?
A good example from my current team, I work with a quality and engineering team. And so that third section is, as a team, we're going to work together to find ways to make the business run more smoothly, run more effectively, run more efficiently. And we're going to work to communicate that across our partner teams so that we all get the benefit.
I love that.
It almost sounds like kind of a team mission statement.
Very much so. Very much so. There's only 2 or 3 bullets in that team one, but that's what it's about.
Yeah, I think Jen and I, we've done like team sessions, and we kind of call them the operating norms, right? Like, here's how we'll operate, which is kind of like the whole thing that you've listed out. How do we operate as a team? And then I love your part 2, where you're like, okay, how do we interact as individuals?
Yes. Yeah. It's been really constructive for me. It's actually something that I plagiarized from one of my former managers here at our company that have carried forward. And I know that some of the people that I have led that have gone on to lead teams have also taken it and done it for them. Yeah. It's been really effective.
That's great. And
honestly, I'm pretty sure I'm going to start doing that. So thank you.
I'm happy to share it with you.
Okay. Thanks.
Send you my template.
We appreciate that.
Really, we're all just an amalgam of the good things about the leaders and people that we've worked with in the past. So I love that you're kind of intentionally borrowing it forward and paying it forward as well. I love that.
That's right. So the third thing that I'm really deliberate about, kind of point number 3, is making sure that I am very clear with my team about how I am available to them. So again, saying it out loud, but also because they're not in the building, they can't walk by my office and see if I'm here. They can't poke their head in and ask me a quick question. So how am I going to facilitate that on an ongoing basis? And it's a little bit different for every team member because it's really structured around what they need, but it kind of consists of a couple of things. The first is I have dedicated one-on-one time with all of my direct reports, and I'm very clear with them. That time is kind of sanctioned and sacred. I'm not going to move it unless I absolutely have to. If they need to move it, we can. It's their time, but I'm committed to that time for them. When we're there in that one-on-one, I'm not multitasking. I'm not answering instant messages. I'm not doing anything else. That is their time for me. And so that's kind of the first step to make sure that they have the access to me that they need. Second is I'm very clear that they can call, email, or instant message me at any time. And the only time that I will not answer them is if I'm in a one-on-one with another direct report. So that they have that understanding of, hey, it is okay to reach out to me. It is okay to interrupt me. I want you to. I want to be there to help you with whatever it is that you need. I usually, with new team members, I oftentimes, as I'm first starting to work with them, I'm very intentional about kind of instant messaging them a couple of times, sometimes with just a joke or just a how's your day going kind of thing, just to make sure that they understand that I really do mean that line of communication is open. I have kind of a big, scary title for people too. And so sometimes people who have differentiated titles down the chain are nervous about that and don't think I really mean it. And I try to make sure that they understand that I really mean it. In other cases, for example, I mentioned that I have a team in the Philippines. It's hard for them to instant message me because they're 12 hours ahead. So when they're trying to instant message me, I'm asleep. And so in those cases, it's a different type of communication cadence. I have a team member down there that has my WhatsApp because that's easier for him to do internationally than some of the others. I have another who prefers to keep to our kind of company channels, but understands that these are the timeframes when I'm going to be awake and available. I'm also really clear with all of my team members that outside of work hours, I don't expect them to be working and I won't be working. But the only exception I make is if they call me or my boss calls me. And so that's also a time when it is okay for them to reach out to me. And I try to be really deliberate about making that clear for them as well.
That's fantastic. I love how clear and direct you are with your teams. Not a lot of, surprisingly, not a lot of leaders really do that. And I love the one-on-one philosophy. Regina has the exact same philosophy of one-on-one.
Exactly. It is sacred.
That's right. And it's their time, right? I'm going to show up with a list. And if we get to my list, that's great. If not, it's on me to find more time for them, but that's their time. This is your time. You have me. What do you need from me?
Yeah. Okay. Yes. So I'm not as great as you, I don't think, about that. I'm going to put that one in my pocket as well today, because there are often times where I'm like, okay, I have lots of things. But I always say, what do you have to start first?
Yeah.
And so, but I think sometimes if I'm the boss, then they're like, oh, no, you go first.
Right.
That must be more important, but actually it's probably not more important. I also do expect like a level of preparation for one-on-ones. Yes. So like I prepare throughout the week. I keep a OneNote with all the things that I want to talk to you about. And so I have that information ready to go for that one-on-one, so that when it does frustrate me when I hold time sacred and people either cancel last minute or they have zero direction or nothing that they want to talk about, then it's like, come on, there's got to be something.
There's something that happened this week.
Right.
Something.
I love those philosophies because I think, and if you are a leader out there, please listen up, because I think a lot of people think, oh, there's so much important work going on. I'm in tune with my employees. That's the first thing I can cancel if I need extra time.
And I think it's wrong. And I got to tell you, I did not take that philosophy until I heard one of our other leaders speak about it. And he had actually showed like where he spends his time, and the majority of his time was spent in one-on-ones. And he explained how that time was so sacred, even for people that didn't report to him, right? For relationship building, for strategizing or whatever, that one-on-one time was so sacred. And like it hit me like a ton of bricks when I heard him talk about this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to do better. And since that day, I have held that time very sacred.
And I learned that from you, Regina. And now I'm hearing that reiterated, but I've also heard how much people appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes doubly important when your teams aren't co-located with you. That might be the only time you see them all week, depending on what the rest of your meeting schedule is. You may not see them again for the rest of the week. And so giving them that time becomes really critical to making sure that you stay connected.
That's true. And it's funny you say that, because my team has been in the same office in the last few years, different teams, but no matter who they are, same office, but it's still been hybrid. So that still applies, because I may have a big meeting the next day. So I'm going to be remote today, but they're in the office, and, it's still the same. Even in the same office, it may be the only time I see that person the whole week. So yeah, it's super, super critically important.
Yeah. And I've just made this kind of transition in my job where the majority of the team that reports to me actually sits in a different office now. And so you want to talk about protecting that time. I've also taken on a few new things, Jess, as well, because of this. We're in the same city. We're just in different offices. I had a team member that I needed to kind of get started on some stuff. And he's a few skip levels below me, but his leader and his leader's leader were both out of town or on vacation. So I reached out to him with a quick IM, hey, do you have a minute to talk? And like actually sat down with him, virtually, of course, but gave him all the context, told him what we're doing and why we're doing it. And, could he have some bandwidth to help out with this exercise, and kind of what the expectation was. And he was just so excited to do the work. Right. And I didn't send an email. I didn't forward someone's email. Hey, can you get on this? I took that personal approach to really engage with him, and continue to engage with him as he's kind of working through this. But I think even if you're in the same city, all of these things, even if you're in the same office, it's all good stuff though, right?
Yeah, it won't hurt you to do it in person either. It's going to help build those relationships stronger so that you can continue to grow together.
That's right.
It's just more important and takes more effort.
That's right.
Yes.
If you are remote.
Jen, you hit the nail on the head. The effort has to be much more intentional. When you don't see someone every day, it's really easy to cancel that one-on-one or to move that meeting. When you do see them, it's really hard.
That's so true.
So you have to be intentional. You have to be thoughtful. You have to do the work. And that's great leadership.
It is. It is. Gosh, you just gave us so much good content. What's one thing that people could do in the next 24 hours?
I'll take it back to that foundational rule. Find one thing that either you wouldn't normally say out loud, or you think to yourself, I'm not going to say this because everybody should know it already, or I'm not going to say this because it's not usually something I would share. Find one thing, say it out loud, and see how it goes.
I love that.
I'm going to do that too. That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
All right. Time for our final segment. And Jess, let's actually start with you. What are you doing to fill your cup right now?
So I have a daughter that I share custody with her father. So I have alternate weekends with her. And this weekend she's with her father, which is what we call unsupervised weekends for me. So my husband and I are going to go see a movie and probably have some kind of silly drinks somewhere and just have a nice little date night out, which still feels so like revolutionary after 2 years of not leaving the house. So
I'm
pretty
sure.
excited.
I love it. That's fantastic. What movie might you see?
We're going to go see Bros, which is the new Billy Eichner movie. I love him. He's so funny.
Oh, it looks really good.
That sounds great.
Love it. What about you, Regina?
Well, I have a funny story about the dates, Jess, really quick, because we have a festival here in Franklin. It's called the Pilgrimage. My mother gets free wristbands every year because she lives right across the street from it. And so they're like, sorry and thank you. So they give her wristbands. So my husband and I head over there and we drop my kids off at her house and walk across the street to the festival. And my kids like go nuts. And they're like, why aren't you taking us? I'm like, well, we only have 2 wristbands. And I said, and they were like, well, we need to go with you. And I'm like, no, you're going to stay with grandma and granddude. And daddy and I are going to go have a date at the festival. And Oliver, my oldest, says, but you've had dates before. And I said, Oliver, I think our last date was last year at the Pilgrimage Festival. And he's like, so you had a date a year ago. You and dad don't need to go.
That's pretty funny.
That's amazing.
So, but the moral of this story is that daddy and I must leave our children and have more dates.
Your son has some learning to do about filling the relationship cup. He'll get there.
That's right.
I got stuck on grand dude. I love that. That's good.
Really cute.
Yeah, my niece named my dad Grandu. She's the oldest. And then when Oliver was born, my 9-year-old, almost 9 in a couple weeks, Abby said, well, Oliver can't call him Grandude.
Oh, no.
And I had to sit Abby down. She was like 8 years old at the time. And I had to sit her down. And I was like, Abby, you're the oldest grandchild. And you got to choose Grandude's name. And now all of the other grandkids have to use it.
Yeah.
That's so
she's like,
cute.
fine. So yeah, he's Grandude.
That's pretty great.
Well, what are you doing to fill your cup?
What am I doing? Well, it's Scholastic. Well, not Scholastic Book Fair.
Literati.
I mean, the Literati Book Fair. I'm so interested to see what this is. So I've got that. And then also my favorite father-in-law is coming to town. He'll be here this evening at about 5 p.m. My brother-in-law, Kyle. So the two of them are journeying. It takes them 2 days to get here. They live in New Mexico and they drive always.
Wow.
I know. So it takes them 2 days. So they will reach their destination around 5 or 6 this afternoon. So we'll probably go golf and spend some good family time with Grandpa Harry.
So fun. I love that you said
and
your
Uncle Kyle.
favorite father-in-law is if you have a hand.
Yeah, I called him today. I called him before this and I was like, hey, favorite father-in-law, what time are you going to be here? And he just giggles.
That's so funny.
Oh, yeah. Anywho, Jen, what about you?
My cup runneth over. I think I have so much going on right now, but most recently went to Cabo in Mexico for several days with a group of girlfriends, and it was absolutely fantastic. I know I told you this, but I was not thinking that I was going to absolutely fall in love with this area of Mexico, but I love it. The people are so fun and funny, and they really made the trip. The food was great. We had a great time. So that was one huge thing. And then this weekend is Oktoberfest in Nashville. And I forgot it's your thing too, Regina. I forgot to tell you this. I apologize.
I forgot. It's also the home show in Nolensville in my town. Maybe we'll bring the world's best father-in-law and come do some Oktoberfesting. That might be fun.
You want to park in my house?
Oh yeah, of course. Where else would I park?
So we were doing that this weekend. It opened last night technically, but we didn't go over. Thursday night is always the neighborhood night, and we usually go over. So I think we're going to pop over in a little bit, just check it out. And then we'll be there with the crowds tomorrow, just prosting it up, I suppose.
Oh, I'm so excited. Oh,
hey.
Okay. We got to talk to Justin about
this.
Yes,
you do. I can't believe we didn't talk about that as much as I
can't believe we didn't either. You're supposed to be my person for Oktoberfest.
I
know. Oktoberfest will let you literally fill your cup, right?
Yes. Yes.
That's right.
And it's the first one since 2019. So it's going to be bonkers, I bet.
It's going to be packed.
So,
all right, Jen, we'll wrap us up. Have them. Oh God, I can't even talk. You know what you're supposed to do next.
First of all, can we cheers or did we just cut that out?
No, we do that after.
Oh shit. It's right in front of me. Anyway, it's going to be funny if you don't cut all of that out.
Oh, I'm not.
Cool. Okay. So please reach out to us. We want to hear from you. We're getting back in the swing of things, or at least trying to, if we can learn how to talk. Find us at Leaderish Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. And you can email us at leaderishpodcast@gmail.com. Please leave us a review. I don't think we've gotten one in a while. However, we haven't recorded in a while, so it's kind of our fault.
I know.
But we're getting back into it. Thank you so much, Jess, for joining us. That was freaking awesome. I took a lot away from it as well. I think our listeners are really going to love it. It's such a very timely conversation to have right now. So
thank you so much for having me. I listened to you guys and I'm glad I can help other people learn from you too.
Amazing.
Okay, before you cheers us, Jen, I need to tell you this because Jess did an internal podcast. We have an amazing host that does kind of an internal podcast. Cool. And so I listened to the podcast and I don't know Jess. I've never actually had a conversation with her. And I sent her an IM and I was like, I am totally a fangirl now. And she's like, that's funny because I listened to your podcast and I'm a fangirl.
Oh my God.
That's true.
Things Regina tells me after we are recording.
I know. I'm sorry. But that's why Jess is with us today. And then we were talking and she's like, I love the podcast. I was like, do you want to be on?
Yeah. Anyway, was the first thing you said as soon as I said I listen.
I love it.
Do you want to be on?
So much. I love how things.
I was like,
and then I just get an invite that says guest speaker. And I'm like, okay, Regina's met someone. This is cool.
You can just float along.
Yeah. I trust her. It's good. And it was fantastic. So cheers to you.
Cheers.
Yeah, Jess. Cheers to you. Thank you for joining us. Cheers.